بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، سيدنا وحبيبنا وشفيعنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. نوعنا التعلم والتعليم وتذكر وتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والحث على التمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم، ودعاء إلى الهدى والدلالة على الخير ابتغاء وجه الله ومرضاته وقربه وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى مع لطف وعافية برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهني وهافي غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهني وهافي غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهني يا وهاب يا غني. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم، والحمد لله رب العالمين. أمين أمين يا رب العالمين. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Yesterday we're still going through the um about the Ahlul Bayt, about the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we have been talking generally about respect, about respecting others, who are respecting, just respecting the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? And then now let's go into respecting the Ahlul Bayt of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So we ended yesterday's class speaking about the verse in the Quran, right? And the verse in the Quran whereby, so this verse in the Quran, this verse in the Quran, it is when the Christians, at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, kept arguing about the case of Nabi Isa, alayhi salam, and who was his, and who really, you know, in the origins of Nabi Isa and so on and so forth. As we know in some of their doctrine, right, that some that like a large of them believed in Nabi Isa to be the son of God and being God himself. Right. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the verse we read yesterday, Allah says, and if they still argue about this with you, Muhammad, after all this knowledge of Nabi Isa alayhi salam has come to you, and who really is Nabi Isa and what happened to Nabi Isa alayhi salam in the story, as if after all of this has been clarified in the Quran, and Allah says, if they still argue with you, then say to them, I put this to the test, I put their claim to the test. I say to them, come, right? We call our so now comes the Al-Bayt, okay, the verse of Al-Bayt. It says, come, we say to them, come, فقول تعالوا, come. ندعو أبناءنا. We will call our children. وأبناءكم and your children. ونساءنا and our women. ونساءكم and your women. وأنفسنا and ourselves. وأنفسكم and yourselves. ثم نبتهل. And then نبتهل basically is like we're going to make dua, right? In a desperate way, whereby together they will dua, right? That may Allah curse the liars. And because whatever we are saying is something, and whatever you are saying is something. I had two groups of people saying the different things about Nabi Isa alayhi salam, and both claim to be correct. So put the test, right? We all come together, make dua, and say, may Allah curse the liar, and may Allah curse the liar. And so when نبتهل فنجعل لعنة الله على الكاذبين. And so Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam first came down, straight away. He went to the house of Sayyidina Fatima Zahra, and he got his two grandsons, Sayyidina Al Hassan, Sayyidina Al Hussein, and so they were abna'ana. And so abna'ana are our children. And so Rasulullah got Sayyidina Al Hassan and Sayyidina Al Hussein, like his two grandsons. وَنِسَاءَنَا وَنِسَاءَكُمْ, he got Sayyidina Fatima Zahra. And Sayyidah Fatimah Zahra is Nisa'ana, right? He's the woman. Meaning the most beloved people, right? So put to the test, your claim, bring your most beloved people to you, your family, and bring them. I so Anfusana, Anfusakum, he brought Sayyidina Ali. Like, because Sayyidina Ali is, from him is from Sayyidina Ali. So Sayyidina Ali, Sayyidina Fatima Zahra, and Al Hassan wal Hussein, right? And then he came and they waited. They waited for the Christians to come and they failed to come. But they waited and they waited and they waited and they waited. Right? And the Christians failed to show up. But they didn't show up. Right? And in fact, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that had they shown up, the entire doctrine would have been destroyed. Then from this method, it will be destroyed till the day of judgment. It will be destroyed. Meaning that the belief system will be completely be crushed. Had they come on that day, whereby they were supposed to do this, this dua that may Allah curse the liars, right? And so this would have caused for them and their doctrine, right, to be destroyed till the day of judgment. But they didn't show up. They actually got scared and they didn't show up. Right? So and it shows clearly that who's on the truth. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had no issues immediately. He went to get Al Hassan, Al Hussein, Sayyidah Fatima Zahra, and Sayyidina Ali immediately without any hesitation, no fear, nothing. That is a proof, of someone who is on the truth, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? Right. So here, this verse, right, when you saw from the actions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right, we see clearly that who are his family and whom he counts to be his, who he counts to be his family. Right. So subhanallah, and also other parts of the Quran, whereby Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ رِجْسَ أَهْلِ الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. It's a famous verse about Ahl Bayt of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that indeed Allah just wants to remove from you all of these blemishes or the family, and to purify you for complete purification. Right? And also right, other verses, right, in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says قل لا أسألكم عليه أجرا إلا المودة في القربى. I say, O Prophet, to the people, I don't ask from all of you any form of fee for what I do, for him preaching and him teaching. He said, I don't ask from you any form of fee, except that you love, like my family or my relatives. He said, you love my family. So these are the verses in the Quran whereby it points to the virtue of the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? And also what is expected of the believer with regards to their position with the family of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then thereafter comes the verses of the Quran or often sayings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself, right? Whereby he calls the believers, right, to protect over his family, right, and to follow them, right, and to respect them and love them. And then we will go through into the entire matter of the family of Rasulullah, especially in our zaman, with regards to, the extreme positions people have taken in regards to the family of Rasulullah, of course, Islam, the best way is always the middle way, right? The best way is always the middle way, right? So we'll speak about that as well, right? Inshallah. Right, so of the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the very famous hadith, there are many, many famous hadiths, mashallah, whereby he mentions his family, right? Um, you know, uh, but some of the hadiths, some of the hadiths, he points to his family being the place whereby you run to in the end of times, right, to be saved, right? So you hold on to the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? So these are the place whereby Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that, hold on to two, hold on to two, the Quran, or I left behind for you two, I left behind for you the Quran and my family right? So hold on to and so hold on to them. Right? So hold on to them, so hold on to them. And in other verses or in other hadiths, Rasulullah SAW said that I remind you of my family. That means I counseled you, right? I counseled you about my family, about my family, about my family, meaning look after my family. And of course, Rasulullah Sallallahu he knew what was going to happen in the future. He knew that both his grandsons were going to be martyred, right? They were going to be killed, assassinated by the Muslims themselves. And he knew that there was going to be a massacre of his family. And the entire Ahlul Bayt, Sayyidina Hussein, Sayyidina Hussein, there's a full, complete massacre of the men of the Ahlul Bayt, all of them. They were killed off, except Sayyidina Ali Zain al-Abidin. And from Sayyidina Ali Zain al-Abidin, the lineage continued thereafter. But subhanallah, Rasulullah, he knew there will come a time whereby people would, the Muslims would actually kill his entire family. And they did. They actually killed his entire family. They almost wiped out his lineage. Of course, Allah did not permit for it to happen. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them leave behind, not touch or not kill Sayyidina Ali and Abidin when they could have, right? They could have. He was right there. He was right there in Karbala, at Karbala. He was right there, and where they killed all the men, of the family of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and they took as prisoners all the women and children. Right, subhanallah, and the family of Rasulullah had not come to Karbala for war. They had come, Sayyidina al-Hussein had brought them there, and because the people of Karbala had promised security and safety, and a safe place for the family of Rasulullah to stay. But they turned on their words, they were treacherous, and they killed off the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there are many verses, there are many hadith statements, whereby he points to the Muslims to look after his family and look after his family, take care of his family, be mindful of his family, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because of him knowing as well that will happen in the future, with regards to his family. He knew there will be very dark times in the history of Islam, with regards to the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? Now, right? And of course, in another statement of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Ahibullah lima yaghduku bihi min ni'amihi, wa ahibbuni li hubbillah, wa ahibbu ahlul bayti li uhibbi." Right. So he says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, all the proofs of the compulsion to love the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, "Love me, for what love Allah for what Allah has given you of His blessings, and love me for Allah's love, and love my family if you want my love." Right, so all of it is linked. Right? So if you want Allah to love you, then you love the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you want the Prophet to love you, you love the family of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, so now comes the question, right? Right. So with regards to the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, okay, we know that they are human beings. Right? They are human beings. And in fact, in our time right now, right, okay, to ask the question, where is the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Right? Where are they, in this world? So to answer that question, right, from Sayyidina al-Hassan and Sayyidina al-Hussein, right, they are descendants till today, right, from both sides, right? So al-Hassan and al-Hussein, both of them have descendants through them till today, till today, right? And the people who are descended from them, they preserve their lineage, and they preserve most of them, in fact. I mean, there are those who have removed it, and for very very serious reasons in history, there are people from the family of Rasulullah who have removed all traces. Indeed from the family of Rasulullah. And we'll mention why, inshallah. Right, so Sayyidina Al-Hassan, a lot of his family, you see, right, they're in Sham, right, there are a lot of them in Morocco, they are also in Saudi Arabia, right, so they tend to be in these areas, from the family of Sayyidina Al-Hassan. Sayyidina Al-Hussein, like a lot of them, in fact, a high percentage of them, they are all the way here in Hadramaut, right, in Tarim, right, from the story of Imam Muhajir, who brought from the lineage of Sayyidina Ali Zain al-Abidin, who is from Sayyidina al-Hussein, right, all the way down. So Hadramaut has the highest concentration of the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Mm. Right, now, right, so the family, and because from Hadramaut, a lot because the Hadramis who went to Southeast Asia to bring Islam, to spread Islam in Southeast Asia. So therefore, now in Southeast Asia, there is a high, percentage of, compared to the rest of the world, there are high, there are large, communities in Southeast Asia, whereby you have the Ahl Bayt, you have the family of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam residing there, right? And from Sayyidina Al Hussein's line, usually it is known who they are if you see their family name. If you look at their family name, their tribe name, you see, and especially if they carry before in front of the name Sayyid or Sharifa. Okay, what happened in in Southeast Asia during the time of the colonialists, right? The colonialists, when they came to Southeast Asia, they were massacring the family of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And this is one of the reasons that caused for some of the family members to change their name. They began to change their names to hide, to hide themselves from the colonialists, right, who were killing, just killing in large numbers the family of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. If you ask the question why were they killing the family of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? Of course, if you look into like some of the reasons, they will say like, oh, because they get threatened by the influence of the family of Rasulullah. It's been known, yeah, it's been known that the family of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they have very strong influence over the people. They have very strong influence over the people, especially in Indonesia, in Malaysia, that in the past especially they had influence over the people. Like they tend to be scholars, they tend to be muftis, right? So of course, governments will feel threatened by their presence, and they kill them off. But of course, the colonists, they were people who were working for the jail, right? Because they were from the, I mean, they were from the West and they were working for the jail. They were Zionists, right? The colonists, when they came around the world, colonializing all the different lands of Asia, Asia and the Arab world and Africa, right? They were all Zionists. If you know the history of it, right? They were all Zionists, right? They were doing stuff for Dajjal. Zionism is basically Zionists. They're basically slaves of Dajjal, and they know it. They know it. They are slaves of Dajjal. So subhanAllah, wherever they went, like they had an agenda, that was to serve what Dajjal wanted. And one of the things that Dajjal wants is to destroy the Ahlul Bayt. Like why? Because the Mahdi will come from the Ahlul Bayt, and the Mahdi will work with Nabi Isa alayhi salam to destroy Dajjal. I said Dajjal, it's the same story like the Fir'aun story, similar story. There's going to become someone from the Bani Israel, going to destroy Fir'aun. So Fir'aun goes berserk and he kills all the baby boys from Bani Israel. Same story. And Dajjal, he knows someone from the Ahlul Bayt, Imam Mahdi, will rise up, right, and he will lead the Muslims, and then he will go against the Tajric forces until Nabi Isa comes down, and then together they will set out and they will destroy Dajjal and destroy all the followers of Dajjal. Dajjal knows it's going to happen, right? And so he's doing what Fir'aun is doing, what Fir'aun did, which is to go around killing the people from whom the Mahdi, or the one that will destroy him, was is going to come from, right? So same story, same story. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. So they've been doing this. They've been killing the Ahlul Bayt. Right? In Yemen, the communist regime, right? Communism appeared in Yemen randomly. Like subhanallah, even the Yemenis have no idea like where it came from. Right? Like how in the world did communism appear randomly, right? In southern Yemen, they had no unrest. There was no unhappiness. Right? There was like it was a peaceful community, right? In Yemen until the communists came, right? And then they began to do all kinds of atrocities and kill so many people. Right. So and you think about it, communism, if you think about the history of communism, right, it appeared, in Russia, right, and then spread to China and kind of stayed where they stayed. A bit of it came to Singapore for a bit, but it got clamped down. The communism in Singapore and like then the West, they were very afraid of communism. Randomly, it appeared in Yemen, right? So random. If you look at the geography of it, okay, China is close to Russia, so therefore it spread that way. Because in Singapore, where the influence in Singapore, it was because many Chinese were in Singapore, right? And they were migrants from China at the time. And so they were following the motherland, and they were following, China a lot. So that the communism grew in Singapore because of that. So it all makes sense. How in the world did communism appear in Yemen randomly in South Yemen? And the people didn't want communism. And they were satisfied with Islam. I mean, of course, they were satisfied with Islam. And Islam had conducted or caused for them to conduct their lives, peacefully in community. They had no need for the concepts of communism. Subhanallah, it appeared so randomly. And of course, we know that it was planted, and it was planted by forces, um, to destroy, not only just the Islamic, framework in Yemen, but to destroy the Ahlul Bayt. In the hundreds and thousands, they murdered. They murdered the Ahlul Bayt here in Tarim. It was known. They were killing them, right? The communist regime. It was a terrible, terrible time. If you listen to Habba Aisha's classes on Tuesdays and on Saturdays, they will always talk about it. They still talk about it because this happened in 1960s. I live in 1960s when communism appeared in Yemen. And there are people today who lived in that era. Like Habib Omar, he was a child in that era. To come until he was like a teenager, a young man. Habib Aishun, Habib Mashur, like he was an adult in that era, and he used to see really how terrible these people were. Of course, he saw, his father got abducted by them. Habib Muhammad bin Salim got abducted by the communists and killed, right, by the communists. And so many of the Habaib, so many of the Habaib, the Ahlul Bayt, the family of Rasulullah, they were killed off, right, in that very, very dark time. And they were here in South Yemen. They were here in Tarim specifically, because there was a high concentration of the Ahl Bayt here, right here in Tarim. So this is the history, of the family of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Right? It has been a very dark history with regards to how they've been treated. And only because of the prophecy, of the prophecy that, of them being beacons of light, of them being points of guidance, of them being Safinat Nuh. There's a hadith of the family of Rasulullah, being like the ship of Nabi Nuh alayhi salam, and whoever who's onto them will be saved. And this speaks about the scholars amongst the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, right, so we already established, right, that the great position of the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Islam, and we are not to deny this, okay? We're not to say that, oh, it's something that the Shia do. We as Jama'ah, we don't do this. No, 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 no. As long as you're a believer, right, it is wajib on you, right, to love the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to love them. Wajib, right? To respect them. Wajib. To love and respect every believer is also wajib, lah. Like, I mean, subhanallah, people want to argue, but the thing about it, you're supposed to respect everybody. And you're supposed to love everybody, right? So what more the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Okay, so comes the question here. So what about, like the family, they do all kinds of things, right? They do all kinds of things, they are, they're not perfect. Yeah, and nobody said that they were. They are not. They are not perfect. They're human beings. They're not prophets. No one ever said that they were perfect. No one ever said that they're going to be perfect. No, right? But Rasulullah SAW did point us to holding on to them, and what he was pointing to are those who are knowledgeable, righteous, and practicing amongst them. And there will be. And we have and we know of them, the Habaib, right? The Habaib, and also in the other parts of the world, the Mashayikh who are from the family, right, of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So many of them, if they are scholars, they become the best of scholars. And they are literally the best of scholars. SubhanAllah, when they are from the family of Rasulullah, it's all doubled up. Right? They have religion, they have knowledge, they have suluk, they have character, they have great character. They have the entire package, subhanAllah, the family of Rasulullah. So they become the best people for us to follow. And we can see the proof is right there in front of us. Right? Subhanallah. So of course there are those who are, they live their lives, and they are influenced by the world, and they are also human beings in this world. right? And they have their issues. They have their issues. And so, subhanAllah, when I meet the family of Rasulullah here in Tarim, in Hyderabad, right? That they will always, I go, every Monday I go for this majlis with our Salma's house. It's actually supposed to be a majlis whereby like it's for the family of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Because in this majlis they're trying to wake up the family in a sense to show them they need to go back to the Sharia, they need to go back to the religion to hold on this very strong legacy, of the family being, people who are very upright, right, in this religion, right? But Muhammad Salma allowed me to come for the class. I'm the only one there. I mean, there are a few of us who are not a little bit who sit in the class, right? But the class is actually meant for a little bit. I found out later that it's actually meant only for a little bit. Like, but Muhammad Mariam was like, no, 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 you all can come. It's okay. Just come, just come, just come. And you want to benefit, you just come. Um, it's a beautiful class, mashallah, where she speaks about the virtues, right, of the a little bit of of tree of Tarim in the ancestry, right, all the way back to Imam Muhajir, mashallah. Right. So okay, so now our stance, right, as believers. Our stance as believers, with regards to the actions of other believers. Honestly, our stance is Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahi al Munkar. Wa khalas. Right, command to goodness and forbid what is evil. Wa husnul right, and a good opinion of everybody, family or non-family. It is not our business to go around judging people, right? It's not our business to go around, deciding if someone deserves our respect or not. It is not our business to do all that. Our business with regards to any other human being, full stop, whether family or non-family, but high emphasis on the family, but every human being, right, is to hold a good opinion of them, first and foremost. And when you see them doing wrong, advise them. When you see them and then to encourage them on doing right. Full stop. That's all. It's not complicated. That's all. So this is why I don't understand people say, oh, but some of the family, right, they don't cover their aura. And some of the family, right, they don't actually pray. And some of the family, right, they don't actually, yeah, 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 what's your business with that? What's your business with that? Your only business is amr bil ma'ruf wa nahy al munkar. Oh, khalas. Right? Command what is good, forbid what is evil, and do gentle counsel if you can. If you're not able to, then do not speak about people. I don't go around, gossiping and backbiting people. Right? If you are able to, advise them. If you can't advise them, then keep quiet. Right? Or find a way to advise them. That's it. That's it. But why must you, go around and speak of them as if they're supposed to be prophets? They are not prophets. They are human beings, right? And they're struggling in this world as how we are all struggling in this world. That's it, right? So someone says, then why should I have higher respect for them? Why? Because you love the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, don't you? You love the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So won't you love his family, right? Won't you love his family? If you love someone so much and you met someone who was closely connected to that person, won't you feel an affinity towards these people? Right? Like for example, if you have a teacher that you love so much, I know much myself, mashallah, if I meet anyone, who is linked to the family of Habib Omar, if I meet anyone linked to Sir Zainab's family, if I meet anyone, linked to the Hababa's families, like all of them, the grandchildren, that you meet them, you feel an immediate affinity to the children of the one that you love. It's natural for human beings to have that, right? So if you can't feel an affinity, towards the family of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, then where is your claim that you love him, right? Where's your claim that you love him? And their actions or their deeds, some people are like, oh, they've done terrible things, that that is their matter if Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. That is really their matter if Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, and Allah will handle them, make dua for them, that they repent and change their ways. Subhanallah. Some people say, oh, but they look down on us, and non-family look down on us. Well, I've met true people from the family, and they are the most humble people I've ever met. I know in Southeast Asia, there could be those who have any they see themselves as higher or whatever. And that is their struggle. If they were to see themselves higher than other people, it is their struggle, not to have that because it's against our tasawwuf. The people that I met here, the family of Rasulullah, some, mashallah, like they would never raise themselves above anybody, family or non-family. Like they would never condemn, they would never look down on anybody. Just by virtue of your lineage, you would never do that. Right? They're the most gracious human beings, they're the most humble human beings I've ever met. And in fact, they will feel embarrassed about themselves being from the family of Rasulullah, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and they feel embarrassed that they have not matched up in their good deeds, in their worship, right? To be counted as a family of Rasul. I mean, in a sense, they say it's for them, it's like they feel ashamed of themselves. They feel ashamed of themselves that they are from the family and they are not matching up in regards to their worship, in regards to their, piety. These are like true, much of true people, right, who hold themselves to account, subhanAllah. And human beings are of many types, right? And it is not our business to begin to judge people and to say stuff about them, and to say to respect them or not respect them. It's not our place. Not our place. Like our place, I mentioned three things, right? حسن الظن, أمر بالمعروف, والنهي عن المنكر, وخلاص. That's our place, right? حسن الظن, I have the highest حسن الظن. With people, if you do see clearly something that is wrong, inform the person, right? And then encourage goodness wherever you go. And that's all, right? Simple as that, eh? MashaAllah. So, MashaAllah, we will end. We'll stop there for today's class and for this book as well. I will go back to the original book to Khuluquna tomorrow, inshallah. We're kind of done. I mean, he does speak about many different matters, right? But we're kind of done. So this last part does bring us back to our character with regards to this matter, right? So it is not for a believer to go into either extreme, right? The extreme whereby they dismiss the entire, reality that the family does have, a right over the believers. And what is the right of the family also over the believers? That we love and respect them. Okay, that is their right. And it is their right because they carry the blood of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, right? So that we actually, pay more attention to them in our love and our respect for them. Only by virtue, simply only by virtue, and then they carry the blood of Rasulullah, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, subhanAllah, that's all. And just because of that, it is enough for us, right, to love and respect them. Those who are not the family of Rasulullah, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, those who are from the family of Rasulullah, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, right, then for them to really strive hard, right, to make their grandfather proud of them, to make Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam proud of them, right, to make Rasulullah happy with them. Strive hard, right, in their religion because they are from the family, right, subhanallah. Um, MashaAllah. So I hope that makes it clear. So we don't go into one extreme whereby we dismiss the entire thing. We don't go into another extreme whereby some people they treat the family of Rasulullah as if they are prophets. They are not prophets. Right? They are normal human beings like just you and me. Right? They falter, they fall, they have diseases, they have issues, they have they have all that we have as well. They're not ma'asum. Right? They're not it's not they're not infallible like prophets, no. Right? But they make mistakes, right? And they're human beings. And forgive them. It's from your love of them that you forgive them. And you don't offer them. Right? So don't go into the two extremes. Be in the middle way. Right? Love them. If you know who they are, respect them. Honor them as you would honor every other Muslim, but more, right, in that way. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. What any questions? No questions, تمام. So tomorrow we will go back to خلقنا إن شاء الله. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة. أن الله يرزقنا علما نافعا والعمل خالصا نستعين بالهدى ويسر بك وبنبي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وإلى أرواح معلمينا ومشايخنا وذوي الحقوق علينا وإلى حضرة النبي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. الفاتحة. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم، والحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.